Assemble! Stay dandy, baby. Tanjiro harnesses the power of a fire god as he, Zenitsu, and Inosuke travel to the mountains and battle against a family of gnarly spider demons. Hello my friends and welcome to a very belated review of Kimetsu no Yaiba. I think it's no surprise, let's get to the elephant in the room. I haven't really been reviewing the series as of late. I have been extremely busy on the weekends and throughout the week, traveling through work, dealing with friends, family, girlfriend, all that stuff, and I thought it was finally time that I decided to sit down and watch these episodes because you guys really want me to talk about this show, and I can truly understand why. I spent the majority of this weekend just sort of like power watching all of the episodes I haven't had an opportunity to watch, in particular episodes 13 through 19, and now I see why you guys really wanted me to watch this show, because it is fucking awesome. I think it goes without saying that Kimetsu no Yaiba is probably the best show of the summer. That's not to say that there aren't others that can compete with it. I do think that Vinland Saga is absolutely amazing. I'm really enjoying Fire Force, but in terms of quality, action, characterization, and just overall style, Kimetsu no Yaiba continues to absolutely blow me away with its amazing production value and just a great set pieces. I mean, this is such a distinctively beautiful looking show, and rather than spend this entire review talking about most of the episodes that I'd missed, I do want to briefly touch on them, but I really want to talk about the most recent episode, episode 19, where Tanjiro has a battle to the death with one of the members of the 12 Kizuki. But before I get to that, of course, let me just give my thoughts on some of the previous episodes, how everything got wrapped up with the battle against the drum demon Kyogai. Of course, Tanjiro was able to take him down in a very flashy and awesome battle, and just like a lot of the previous fights in the series, Tanjiro has this amazing ability to actually have sympathy for his enemies, acknowledging the power of Kyogai and his powers, but really this all seemed like more of a setup to introduce the character of Inosuke, who, without a shadow of a doubt, is my favorite character from the series. I just love how incredibly beastly and over-the-top this character is, and how it goes completely against his physical nature. What I mean by that, of course, is that Inosuke comes across as this sort of man from the wild, a dude who's obsessed with basically just fighting against monsters and proving himself worthy to any strong thing that he comes up against. But he actually has something of a tender side, something that little by little it looks like he's going to start recognizing, and hilariously enough, despite his really gruff demeanor and the fact that he wears what is effectively a boar's severed head, his actual, facial features are incredibly feminine and, dare I say, beautiful. He's a really good-looking dude, and this really is a great contrast with his overall personality, and even though he does come across as very violent and sort of uncooperative, he actually does decide to work along with Tanjiro and Zenitsu, and these three characters, including Nezuko, end up becoming sort of like the main group, the traveling companions of this series, and before they even get any respite or rest, they are immediately thrust into another confrontation with this group of demons, this spider family. And immediately this is interesting because they've already established that demons don't typically work with one another. A lot of that having to do with Muzan Kibutsuji, who is trying to use his power to subjugate all of the demons and making sure that they don't work together to band against him. However, some of these demons do have the distinctive ability to control others, and that's really what this entire arc is all about. This spider family actually consists of a mother, a father, an older brother, an older sister, and a younger brother. And of course, when you look at it for the first time, your first thought is, oh yeah, the dad has got to be the leader. He's a giant hulkish monster, half man, half spider, and no swords can even penetrate his skin. Tanjiro and Inosuke desperately try to fight against this guy, but he's just an absolute hulking beast. The mother has the ability to control other people like puppets, taking all of these demon slayers and controlling them like her very own personal weapons to attack everyone. The older brother has the ability to quite literally transform people into spiders and poison them, and the younger sister, well, basically everything about her is tragic. But what about the youngest brother? Well, he's the one you should be paying attention to the most during all of these episodes. His name is Rui, and he just so happens to be a member of the 12 Kizuki. Yes, the 12 demon moons themselves. He's lower moon number 5, and he's actually in charge of this entire spider family. In fact, he's basically sort of taken them hostage as his very own personal slaves. You see, that's what's really interesting about the character of Rui. You see, that's what's really interesting about the character of Rui and a lot of the other villains from the series. They do at first come across as just these stereotypical villains, but they're surprisingly layered, and Rui's actual relationship with Tanjiro is interesting, as Rui is a character who desperately wants to form a bond and have his very own family, something that Tanjiro holds very dear and takes very seriously. The difference is how they actually view these things, with Tanjiro having a legitimate bond with his sister and his deceased family, and Rui forcing people to be a part of his very own bond. It's this sort of dynamic which sort of fuels the battle between these two characters, and the build-up to it is honestly one of the coolest things about this entire arc. That and the fact that pretty much every character gets to do something awesome. Not only that, but we finally get to see some more of the higher-ups of the Demon Slayer Corps, such as the return of Giyu Tomioka, as well as another new female character who goes by the name of Shinobu. But let's talk about some of the big battles that actually take place here. One of the more interesting ones has to be with Zenitsu, and Zenitsu gets a lot of development during this entire arc right here, not only getting to see that he starts to fall in love with Nezuko, which is mostly played for laughs, but we also get to see where he actually received his training from a martial arts master, and how he actually got his distinctive yellow hair in the first place. Just like Pikachu from Pokemon, he was blasted with some freaking lightning, and somehow he managed to survive, turning his hair yellow and allowing him to master the art of this lightning-style technique. And throughout this entire training sequence, I couldn't help but be reminded of Rock Lee from Naruto. He's very much like him in many ways, where he seems to have a lot of deficiencies and has only really mastered one major thing, but boy does he master the hell out of it as he battles against this demon, which has the ability to transform other people into spiders, and he himself actually gets injected with this poison, where in a short amount of time, he's going to transform into a spider, but he manages to fall asleep and is able to unlock all of his latent hidden potential as he zips around like a literal lightning bolt, just obliterating this guy and getting poisoned in the process. We also have Giyu Tomioka, who arrives to actually help out Inosuke, who also gets a surprising amount of development throughout most of these episodes. The battle that he initially has with Tanjiro is incredible, this hand-to-hand fight, which features some amazing fighting choreography with him flipping around and going crazy. He's able to sustain a lot of damage and still manages to fight back. That's just sort of the thing about his character. He never gives up, even when he is about to be killed, and his battle against the father spider is awesome. He even manages to cut its arm off, despite it seeming nearly impossible. But just like Zenitsu, he does need to be saved by one of the higher-ups. Giyu comes in and just makes a fool out of this dude, just completely wrecks his world. It is damned awesome. Tanjiro is also able to take out the mother spider, but she does so sort of willingly, as she knows if she is going to be killed by him, she will no longer have to be under the subjugation of the father spider and, of course, of Rui. And then, of course, we get to the big main event, the battle with Tanjiro and Rui, which is definitely, I think, one of the most visually looking awesome fights of the entire series. Again, the dynamic between these two characters is the way that they actually view family, with Rui sort of doing it in a very forcible way and forcing people to be a part of his group and not allowing them to have any free will whatsoever, with Tanjiro, of course, loving his family, letting them be free, and of course realizing that their bond is truly something that is real, something that is not forged, as he likes to say. And his battle with Rui is honestly one of the coolest of the entire series, and truly pushes him to his limits and allows him to unlock some abilities that I didn't even think were going to be possible. In this battle, Rui is able to use these spider webs, which are incredibly strong and powerful like steel, and they actually manage to destroy Tanjiro's sword, forcing him to have to utilize a brand new technique, which is known as the Hinokami Kagura dance. Now, what's really interesting about this is, again, it's an exact juxtaposition to the abilities that he learned from Urokodaki, where he utilizes the water style. The Hinokami Kagura dance actually utilizes the power of fire, and it's revealed in a flashback sequence that he was actually learning this technique from his father. It's a very specific breathing technique, and when you get to see his father for the very first time, he looks a lot like an older version of Tanjiro and could very well be that one warrior that Muzan is actually looking for. And Tanjiro's father was sort of like this priest who would do this like Kagura dance for a fire god, and he mastered this by going through this breathing technique, something that really impressed Tanjiro to the point where he wanted to learn it. And this entire sequence of watching his father go through this dance, my word, features some of the cleanest animation that I have ever seen. So even though Tanjiro's sword is completely broken, he is still able to utilize his water breathing techniques and then is able to unleash the power of fire, and it looks so awesome. It's basically essentially a broken sword with all of this fire just erupting from the tip of the broken blade, allowing him to not only sever all of the threads which are being used by Rui, but in combination with Nezuko, who also seems to unlock some sort of fire ability as well, being able to use it from her body, and she's able to destroy all of the threads that Rui used, allowing Tanjiro to just get in really close on this guy through some of the most amazing camera sweeps and choreography that I've ever seen, right before he decapitates him in one of the coolest scenes from the entire series. I literally jumped up out of my chair watching this scene, guys. It was just so freaking clean and handled so well, and it was perfect poetic justice for Tanjiro to go after this guy, reaffirming that his bond with Nezuko is the thing which allowed him to defeat this one guy. A guy who thought that the bonds could only be forged. They could only be forced on someone. It was just incredible. So, what's the rundown on all of these episodes of Kimetsu no Yaiba? First, I'm going to go ahead and apologize for not keeping up with my reviews. It's something that I promised to do, and I didn't do it. What I will say is that every single one of these episodes of the Spider Family arc has been incredible in my opinion. Not only featuring a lot of really gnarly action, which is really well executed, but doing a good job of actually building up all of these characters and making them a little bit more two-dimensional. Especially the character of Zenitsu and Inosuke, who at first just came across as sort of like your typical sidekick characters, but I found myself caring about them just so much more after watching these episodes, whether it be the flashback sequences with Zenitsu and his master and that one other fellow student who's giving him a lot of shit, or maybe it's just Inosuke, a character who seems to also have no bonds with an actual family. He's always sort of been on his own until it's revealed that his mother reluctantly had to let him go during, I'm guessing, a moment where her and his entire family was being attacked, and I don't know what happened. There's still a lot of mysteriousness here about Inosuke, but he still manages to impress me every single time with his action scenes and his overall nature of fighting, which just manages to be so raw and ferocious. I absolutely love it. But of course, it's Tanjiro again who manages to save the day and does so in such an amazing fashion. What I love about the character of Tanjiro is that he seems like that type of main character that could come across as really preachy and annoying, but he never does. He just speaks from the heart every single time, and it never comes across in a really sort of cheesy power of friendship kind of way. Maybe it's because the series itself is just so gnarly and over the top with its violence. I'm not really sure. All I know is it just worked so damn well, and the character of Rui was sort of like the perfect opponent for a character like Tanjiro, and it also just again demonstrated the incredibly strong bond between him and his sister. And I think it goes without saying that the animation during all of these episodes, in particular episode 19, was spec-freaking-tacular. Not just the animation, but the artwork and the color schemes. That moment where Tanjiro used the Hinokami Kagura dance was just spec-freaking-tacular. The amount of choreography of watching him and Rui jump through the woods, swinging around trees, and watching the camera sweep around both of them as he was cutting through all of his threads was simply just a thing of fucking beauty. I freaking loved it. One of my favorite action scenes of the entire anime season, and it has me so pumped up to see what the rest of Kimetsu no Yaiba is all about, and it only makes me hope that we're going to see more in the future. We desperately need a second season for this show. I really do think that it is one of the biggest hits of the year, and if you're not watching it, I don't know what's wrong with you. Check this show out. So, like I said, going forward, I am going to try and review each of the rest of the episodes of the season on an individual basis. Like I said, I'm trying to get away from weekly anime reviews and trying to do more high-quality videos, but the fact of the matter is there are just some series I do need to review on a weekly basis, some of which are going to be coming up this fall, which I'm really looking forward to, like the brand new Gundam series and My Hero Academia, and maybe even a few others. But I definitely need to finish this one out because it is one that I started, and it still manages to impress me. If anything, this weekend has been so much fun being able to watch all of these episodes in quick succession with one another, and it's just got me so pumped up to see what's actually going to be coming next. As for all of these episodes right here, honestly, I thought they were all high caliber. Even the ones that were a little bit slower and just focused more on the characterization, it just made me love the series even more, which is why I'm going to give every single one of these episodes, get ready for it, a freaking 5 out of 5. This is a great series, which still has so much potential for the future. If this is how good this fight was here, man, I cannot wait to see what's going to happen when he goes up against some of the more powerful members of the 12 Kizuki. You got my thought on episode 19 and the ones that came before it? I want to hear from you. What did you think of the Spider Family arc? What did you think of Tanjiro's battle against Rui? Did you have any favorite moments from that? Were your eyes opened to some of the revelations that his father was someone who's associated with the power of fire? What did you think of the development of Zenitsu and Inosuke? Who's your favorite character from the series? How about that Nezuko moment? What do you want to see from the rest of Kimetsu no Yaiba? Let's have a discussion about it in the comments section below. So thank you guys so much for watching this review. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel for more anime reviews, topic discussions, top 10 videos. I even just did a big review on Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Please make sure to check that out and share it with all your buds. And of course, if you want to go the extra mile in supporting this channel, check out my Patreon and my PayPal account. Thank you all again for watching this review. I'll see you all next time, and as always, stay down there, baby.